Hi, I'm Fionnuala Malone and I'm the Programme Manager for CellCant within the Tirlán Cooperative. This afternoon I caught up with McGrath from AHI's Cell Check programme. Michelle manages that programme along with Fionnuala McCoy, and today we had a chat about what are the things to think about as you're coming into the drying off period. And really it's all about managing what data you have about them and making some decisions around drying off. Drying off is such a huge opportunity to deal with any cell count problems that have been in cows through the year, and it's also a good point to actually start to make decisions about cows for next year and maybe to signing up for that extra milk recording. Michelle took us through the changes to antibiotic legislation and why selective dry cow is working really well on some farms and why we're moving towards it as an industry. It's a really positive move for the industry to be working away from blanket dry cow therapy for cows. It's a great opportunity for the industry to actually get ahead, work towards better animal health and better animal management on farm. And it's all about getting lots of advice for your own farm situation. There's lots of help out there for free. Take advantage of it.
Traditionally, dry cow antibiotics were recommended since the 1960s or 1970s across all cows. And the purpose of those were to treat existing infections and to prevent new infections from occurring during the dry period. A lot of work has been done on this area, and with the improvement of udder health across the country and internationally and the development of teat sealer, it is now known that the dry cow antibiotics are only necessary in some cows that have infection. So it's very important to use the data you have on your farm from milk recording to identify these cows during the lactation and as you come up to the dry period, because a lot of your cows may not need an antibiotic at drying off. The best way of identifying if a cow is infected or not is doing regular milk recordings, and the more often you do these, the better information you have, because some bugs have the ability to hide in the udder. So there's a figure of 200,000. If the SCC is above this figure, then it's suggested that the cow is infected. And ideally, then if you do have one of these, you do a quarter sample collection and culture this sample to identify the bug involved and treat accordingly. Sometimes if a cow has recurring mastitis or has received a dry cow tube but has still calved down with mastitis in the following lactation, then it's worth remembering that some of these cows are just not curable and probably should be added to your cull list when you can. Information is key, so as much information as you can gather throughout the lactation is crucial. And even at this time of year, it may be you still have time enough to do one recording. Any recording that's done within 30 to 60 days of drying off will give you good information of the infection level of that cow. Ideally, also, you will have clinical records from throughout the lactation, so any cow that has had mastitis during the lactation, it's recommended that they get a dry cow antibiotic at drying off as well. Any cow with damaged teeth or warts or that runs a lot of milk when they come into the parlour, again, these aren't the type of cows you want to be starting selectively treating on. You want to build up your confidence on cows that have low cell count and are good to keep their milk in their udder. Just to say that the purpose behind this is to protect both human and animal health. And you might wonder how that could be, but it's to do with antimicrobial resistance, which is basically antibiotic resistant. So they can still be used in a cow that's infected, but you need individual cow information to identify these cows. So they are being regulated by the department, and which was starting with auditing vets on their prescribing techniques. So they need to have records available from the farm. They can no longer prescribe on a herd level, it's prescribing on an individual cow level. So the best way of doing this is if milk records are available from individual cows, and the vet will assess these in advance of the drying off period. For the dry cow consult, the farmer applies and nominates a vet of their choice, usually their own vet who has undergone training. And so the consult then will consist of 3 hours of time with your vet. Some of this will be to go through your records and identify cows that do or don't need an antibiotic. The vet will also observe the drying off procedure, go through the housing and assess the hygiene of the cows as well. So it's a very thorough consult, and there's been great feedback from farmers who have joined up in this. Also, there are eligibility criteria, so you have to be milk recording to apply for this, and also have a bulk tank SCC of below 200,000. There's a review dry cow consult available the following year then as well, to see how you got on the previous year, and that has good uptake as well. During the dry cow consult, it's important to have anyone who's involved in the drying off process present, so they can understand the key importance of the process involved, including preparation and hygiene of the tubing procedure. In conjunction with the dry cow consult, we also have a cell count solutions consult, and the objective of this is to help herds that are having issues with a high cell count or mastitis and aren't eligible for the dry cow consult. It can be done at any time of the year, and as I say, there aren't any eligibility criteria. But the main difference with this consult is that it involves a team approach. So there's a vet, milk quality advisor, teagasc advisor, and the milking machine technician. The farmer chooses each of these team, and they all come together to develop an action plan with the farmer by going through the records, the milking routine, taking samples, and setting a plan in place. Again, it's a free consult, and it's ideally a first step into problem solving and getting your cell count under control. We're not recommending that you go out and dry off all your cows without an antibiotic. We're recommending that you get advice from your vet or your advisor to start off slowly, build up confidence, and to increase from there. And though the people who have been doing that over the last number of years are really happy with how those results have gone now. We're coming up to the end of lactation now, and hopefully you'll have been milk recording. Sometimes the SCC starts to rise towards the end of lactation. If you have done a milk recording, maybe individually sample those quarters, try and get a culture and sensitivity on those to identify the bacteria. Also to clip the tails, get your housing ready, make sure that the scrapers are working, repair any cubicles, order any materials you need for the winter. Examine the teats when you're milking. If you see teat problems, maybe it's a good time to change the liners or get your machine serviced if you haven't done so recently. Keep an eye on the body condition score of the cows. Any young cow or thin cow, they might need an extra long dry period. And don't forget the importance of teat spraying. That should be done throughout lactation, not just when they're housed. It's very effective in reducing the amount of bacteria on the teats and spread between infected cows to non-infected cows. It's very effective. It reduces the amount of mastitis that can be caused by up to 50%. So it's never too late in the lactation to start milk recording, and any milk recording that you can do now before drying off will give you huge information on the infection status of the cow, which really you need this information if you're considering going down the selective dry cow therapy route. It's very risky trying to do selective dry cow therapy without having individual cow information. If you're not milk recording, then some options include using a California milk test to identify problem cows, but this is only a temporary solution. It's not a long-term solution. Some of the co-ops will offer a service of doing milk sampling of all your cows, and this may be a viable option Again, if you're not milk recording, just make sure that it's done accurately and correctly as possible and identify the cows properly.
Our milk supply team advisors and myself are there to advise and help with cell count problems. If you've got any queries about cell count, please do contact your milk supply manager or myself, or reach out and have a look at our resources that are on our website, tirlánfarmlife.com. We're there to help on your cell count problems.